So PSMA is a membrane glycoprotein which is expressed on the prostate cancer cells. It's expressed on normal prostate cells also, but in prostate cancer cells it is expressed many times more than the normal prostate cancer cells. Also, as the prostate cancer becomes more castrate resistant or hormone resistant, the expression of PSMA increases. So, the more aggressive the prostate cancer, the more is the expression of PSMA. And this PSMA serves as a brilliant target for us to both image as well as to treat patients of prostate cancer. So when we talk about imaging, we use a radioisotope like gallium-68 or F-18, which emits rays which we can use for imaging. And these radioisotopes are labeled with a small body which targets these PSMA receptors which are expressed on the tumor cells. So this combination of the radioisotope with the small body is known as a radioligand, and this radioligand is injected intravenously, and inside the body of a patient it seeks out all the sites of prostate cancer and its metastasis. It accumulates, it gets attached to the PSMA receptors which are expressed on the prostate cancer cells. It is internalized. This radioligand complex is then internalized within the cell and it stays there. And because of the radioactive tail which this radioligand has, it emits certain rays which are then picked up by the PET-CT scanner. And these images are then co-registered to very high resolution CT scan images to give us a holistic picture of both the the extent of disease as well as detecting all the sites where this prostate cancer has metastasized. So this serves as an invaluable tool for determining whether the patient is eligible for treatment which addresses just the prostate gland, or in cases where there is some spread, the patient may actually need to go in for a systemic therapy as compared to a local therapy like surgery or like radiation. Now, the same PSMA receptor may be used for treating patients of prostate cancer, especially those patients who have become castrate resistant or hormone resistant. Now, in these kind of tumors, the use of this radioligand is for treating these tumor sites, and hence the radioisotope which is used may be a beta or an alpha emitting radioisotope which has the potential to actually cause DNA breaks in the tumor cells, resulting in their cell death. So now the common radioisotopes which are used for this radioligand therapy are lutetium, which is lutetium-177, or in cases of an alpha PSMA therapy, it is actinium-225, which is used as the radioisotope. Now, what is the difference between alpha and beta? The potency of cell kill is much higher with an alpha emitting radioisotope as compared to a beta emitting radioisotope. The alpha emitting radioisotopes, when they emit the alpha rays, these alpha rays cause double-stranded breaks in the tumor DNA, which is very difficult for the tumor cell to repair, and as a result there is a programmed cell death, and the tumor finally, that particular tumor cell dies off. Whereas with a beta emitting radioisotope, since these beta cells cause single-stranded breaks in the tumor DNA, the tumor cell is sometimes able to actually repair these breaks and continue to survive despite the lutetium or the beta emitting radioligand therapy. So why use only beta? Why not use alpha in every patient? The problem is that with the beta emitting radioisotopes, it is a much gentler form of treatment. So the adverse effects are much less when you talk about beta PSMA therapy as compared to alpha PSMA therapy. And what are those adverse effects? The most critical adverse effect of radioligand PSMA based therapy is what we call in technical language as xerostomia, or a salivary gland toxicity. So xerostomia means a dry mouth. Now these PSMA receptors are also expressed in the salivary glands of a person physiologically. So this is just the physiological expression of PSMA receptors in the salivary gland. Now when we use radioligand therapies which are directed towards these PSMA receptors, they will also affect the salivary glands of the patient and cause certain amount of fibrosis in the salivary gland, which causes the patient to have a dry mouth. And this dry mouth is to a large extent non-reversible, and this causes an impact to the patient's quality of life. And this xerostomia or dry mouth is far more with the alpha emitting agents as compared to the beta emitting agents. And this is the reason why we often use beta emitting agents or lutetium PSMA as a first line of therapy, and alpha emitting radioisotopes only in those patients who have become refractory to the lutetium or the beta emitting radioisotopes. About 75% of patients who are treated with lutetium PSMA will respond to lutetium PSMA therapy, and often the duration of response is about median duration of response is about 1 to 1.5 years. Now when I talk about median, that means that that's the most common duration of response to lutetium PSMA. There are patients who may remain in disease control for a longer period. Sometimes I even have patients who have completed more than 3 years of progression-free survival, or there may be a subset of patients who have a recurrence or a progressive disease at a shorter interval. So there are a lot of factors which are involved in this. What is the expression of PSMA in the tumor cells? What are the treatments which the patient has had till date? What is the general condition of the patient? And most importantly, what is the tumor biology? So we know some aspects of disease. There are many aspects of disease which we are still finding out, and so it is sometimes not always possible to exactly say that which are the patients who will respond better as compared to those who will not. However, typically the patients who have not received chemotherapy or are earlier on in their disease will respond better as compared to those who have already received chemotherapy or cytotoxic chemotherapy in the form of the taxanes. So the patients who come to us post chemotherapy typically don't do as well as patients who come to us prior to chemotherapy.